Okay. Hey, first I want to say sorry for the clickbait headline, but I gotta be honest with you. If it said like footwear quality is really important, would you really be watching this video? So thanks for that. We'll put that away. Um, yeah, we're gonna save that. Yes, we will save that. Okay. So hey, footwear quality is super important, and that's why I want to show you this pair of shoes today. This is the Zoom GT, and it's actually a pretty cool looking shoe, but there's some problems with it. And I was in the Nike store, and the shoes I found were in the outlet, and this is probably why. But what I want to show you is quality is two things. Number one is how the shoe is put together, but number two is how the shoe is designed. And if it's designed in such a way that is going to reveal problems, then that's on the designer. That's on us. If it's on the manufacturing side, well, that's on the factory. And then the other part is how a shoe like this would get through, right? So let's go take a look. All right. Um, okay. So in the side profile, you can see the shoe is pretty complicated. We've got this sort of open mesh, and then we've got a weld that covers the mesh and it x-rays through. Well, that's cool. And that finishes the edge so you can sew through. And I get why they've done that. And then you've got this rubber unit. And then you've got an EVA unit. And the EVA unit is made of a couple of pieces. You've got first this piece of EVA down here. And then the airbag is tucked in. And then there's this injection mold. And then there's another piece of rubber EVA or injection on top. I'm pretty sure it's EVA. We'll get another look at that. Um, and okay, so that's complicated. Okay, which do complicated. Awesome, we love that. And then that's EVA inside there too. But at least do it clean, right? So that's where let's zoom in here. So first of all, what we see is a couple of things. We'll zoom in here. Oh, that's crazy. We'll zoom in here, and you see there's a parting line of the mold. Okay, that's natural. That's part of what's going to happen here. But now we see down here, it's all kind of. We got to try to zoom in a little bit better here. What's going on here? Okay, let's let's zoom in over here. There's a few things that we're looking at here. Number one, and let's try to. Let's get over here. All right. Sorry, folks. Okay, let's drive over here. Really doesn't want us to zoom in. Okay, let's zoom in back over here. Number one, we're looking at this line over here. And this line that looks like it's sort of hanging out in space, this is a trim line. And that trimming line is because that's where the mold closes, right? And the EVA actually puffs out where that mold touches, right? Because the mold it closes, but it's not 100% tight. So there's a little gap. So that's why that you have that weird line over here, right? And you can see where that follows along. And this is part of the designer draws it, and then the tooling guy says, well, in order for this thing to look this way, this is where you have to put the parting line. Okay, all EVA components have a parting line. Okay, fine. The next thing we see on and you can see the inside edge here, there's another parting line too. Fine, okay. It just doesn't look that great. That's all. If the mold is really sharp and tight and new, then that parting line will be almost zero, right? Okay. Next thing you see all these little dimples. Dimple, 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 dimple. And what these are air vents. And as a designer, I would get an EVA part back, and if I see those dimples on it, and I know the factory engineer wants to make sure that there's no air hole, right? Because either you have a little air vent sticking up, or there's air trapped inside the tooling. And part of me, and I this is me getting personal. I look at my logo, right? Okay, this is not my logo. This is the Nike logo. When I look at a shoe that I'm doing and I see there's air vents on my logo, it looks like crap. I hate that. So I always say, listen, do not put air vents on the logo. Just wait, okay? And If it's not working great, then okay, fine, we'll do that. Okay. Next thing is you see the airbag. This is the zoom bag. You can also see it has a parting line too, because the way that this plastic film is vacuum molded into shape, and then they put the zoom inside, and then they come and weld it. So there's an edge where that the two pieces of plastic kiss together. That's fine. You're gonna have that. Now the next thing we see is there's a little bit of glue between all these components, right? And I know we're looking at it closely, but we'll get to another picture or two and you'll be like, what is going on? Now, here's the other side of the shoe. And you'll be like, what is going on here, right? Okay, so first of all, you see the same parting line in the dimples. That's great. And then there's glue boogers here, glue boogers all along here, and the EVA is a little wrinkled. So, okay, they're trying to fit these complicated pieces together. And this is complicated, right? And as a designer, you ask yourself, am I drawing something that's too complicated, right? Because remember, this glossy piece here is actually injection molded. So its dimensional stability is to the millimeter. It's perfect. This other white stuff and this gray stuff over here on the top, that's EVA. And EVA, because it's foam, it has some shrinkage to it, 1 or 2%. So it might not always be exactly together, right? So sometimes you see those edges where they don't quite meet. And then if they don't quite meet, then they're going to force it. So all of a sudden here you have what looks like a parting line, and then it looks like got a little glue on it, and they force it all together, and then, so it's not great. And then, but the part that really bugs me the most about this shoe, and it's a cool detail, right? If this, the way that this little raised line perimeter around the logo, right? See how the light is coming off it? It's nice and glossy, right? So they went in and this is a little bit difficult actually in the mold, because remember the mold is reversed, right? So that raised area is down into the mold. So they've had to go in and get into the bottom of that little groove in the tool and polish it to make it look mirror smooth, right? And that's how you get that gloss effect. And that's one thing that's cool about injection molding, because you can by changing the texture, right? So this side of the mold has a little nice little fine texture on it, makes it sort of matte finish. And so you can add texture variation in the mold, right? So that's hard to get down into the bottom and polish it. If it was raised in the mold, therefore a groove in the part, then it's easy. You just polish it from the top. Okay. And then however it is, maybe the conveyor belt was dirty or gluey hands. But again, shoe glue is not wet. It's contact cement. So somewhere this thing laid down in a bunch of glue and got glue all over the side of this nice glossy plastic. And then what bugs me again then is that they didn't manage to clean it. So they shipped it out that way. So, okay. And the other thing that we see here is this mesh that they've made the upper out of. It's pretty cool. It's wide open, right? Which means that you got to glue it up. So all of a sudden you see this big over glue here where the glue is kind of oozed out from under the midsole and got onto the fabric, and you can see it's kind of gluey and glooby. And let's zoom in on this and get another look at some of this other stuff here. And here you can see the gluey glue. And this shoe is a $200 shoe. So I mean, is it asking too much? I mean, I know. Hey, Nike makes millions of pairs of shoes, and this shoe is in the outlet. But man, you wish they would all be perfect, and they're not. So in this case, really it leaves a lot to be desired for how this midsole goes together. So okay, so next part is I want to show you what you can do about it, right? So we have a course here at Shoemakers Academy about quality control, and let's walk over here and show you. So you go over here, you come to the website, shoemakersacademy.com, go over here to course catalog, and down here we have footwear inspection and quality control. So the things that I've just showed you on this Nike shoe. And again, hey, don't get me wrong. Nike makes generally high quality, excellent shoes. Not all of them, okay? So and this is how, once I've showed you that stuff, you're like, oh, that's not supposed to be that way. Like Nike does make mistakes, right? You can do better. So now if you're a designer or a brand builder or own your own small shoe company, hey, this stuff's really important because your brand's going to live or die. So here it is. The course is 199, basically 11 lessons, 2 hours and change. And we basically talk about how to inspect a shoe. Here's a checklist, what to look for. We inspect some Nike shoes. We show you sort of some factory process and procedure where things go wrong. When you have a bunch of shoes arrive, how should you go about doing the process? How many should you look at? If you have 5,000 shoes arriving, how many should you look at to see problems? And the reason this is so important is, like I said, because if you're running a big business or small, right, quality really, it kills you if you don't get it right, right? Because you've bought the shoe, you've shipped it, you've imported it, you've warehoused it, you've gone through the effort to sending it to a customer, and it gets in their hands and they don't like it. It's wrong. Now, all that money and effort, and then they're going to send it back, right? Or throw it away, right? So, really, really take your time about quality. And there's some things that you can do. Number one, on your design side, but number two, in your development side. And number three is if you work with a factory that you trust, awesome. But hire a third party inspector, right? And if you want to know how to do that, you're not sure, you can call me, send me an email, theshoedog@shoemakersacademy.com, and I can introduce you to that or explain it. And some of the young brands I've been coaching just recently, the guy, nice guy, and he is scared. He can't sleep at night because he's delivered a container of shoes, or they've shipped. They're not here yet. It's going to take a month, and he's not sure. So the idea that you would have a container on the way that you paid for and you're not 100% sure that it's good or not, that's a problem, right? And you can avoid that. You can avoid that, A, by going yourself, or two, having a third party go into the factory. Hey, yes, you can trust a factory that you're working with, right? That they're doing a good job for you. But the mistakes happen. And I have worked with some of the same factories for many, many years. But I remember we were working on this new product, and I was there, and we looked, and there was a big problem. And it wasn't malice, right? They were screwing it up on purpose. It was just a mistake. But it was one of those ones where it was bad enough that I've only done this once in my life, is literally hit the big red button, like, pull the lever, stop production, like stop, don't do any more work, right? And it takes a lot of courage to do that. But if you're looking at a shoe and it is wrong, and it could either be wasting money, or it could be dangerous, right, if it's not right. So hey, you've got to have the courage, number one, the brains, to know that it's wrong, right, or the skills and the training, and number two, the courage to make a big decision and stop it, because it could cost, if it's your company, a lot of money. It could cost you your entire company, right, if it's a really bad mistake. Or it could cost your company, if it's not your company, say your brand or whatever, not that you own it, but say you work for Nike, Adidas, or wherever, right? It could cost your brand a lot of money. So you have to be, number one, courageous enough to pull the lever, smart enough to know what you're looking at, and also, hey, get help, right? So quality, again, super important. And like I said, hey, I apologize for the clickbait headline, but you made it this far. Quality is super important, and I guarantee you 100%, if you take our footwear inspection quality control course, you will never, never look at shoes the same way again, and that's a good thing. Thanks. You're still here? Okay, we're just gonna wait for the end card to get on. Okay, thank you.